Okay, so I've got this track over here. This is a track that I got from the Cambridge website. You know, from Mike Senior. He set up the Cambridge website and has some multi-tracks that you can practice. That people uploaded and said, you know, you can freely practice with them, download them and get it. So this is by a group called Brew. The song's called What I Want. I went through some things, and this one stood out to me as I really like it and like the potential. So one of the things that I will be doing with this particular song, not for this Effects Magic class, this Effects Magic class is specifically about seeing how to think about and use effects. But one of the things I want to do with this song in particular, because I really like it, I want to develop it into a mix. It's not mixed right now. As you're going to see, I have no plugins on it other than the effects plugins that I put on to auxiliary channels, you know. But other than that, on the actual music channels and everything, there's no compression, no reverb, no compression, no EQ, nothing done to it. I simply put up the levels, got a decent balance, and wanted to hear it completely unadorned. So in the long run for future trainings, because Mixing Magic, my Mixing Magic site, I'll be building out, where it's starting out with Effects Magic. We're dealing with Effects Magic, but like I said, I'm going to build it out into Vocal Magic, for example, and then Guitar Magic, and you know, Bass Magic, Drum Magic. Oh, you know, I'm gonna break it out into the different sections to build up mixes and show you guys behind the scenes. Because as you can imagine, mixing is definitely a much more complex. It's just a more complex thing to approach rather than just getting a few tips here and there, random tips. So what I want to do is give you, like we're going to dig in here, and I want you to see the thought process behind even doing something as simple as choosing reverb. Gets pretty in depth because you have to break it down into thinking about the subcategories of where you're going, not just simply choose a reverb and then be done. And then after you choose it, you have to keep coming back. So anyway, I just said that because I want you to know that I really like this song. We're going to be using this one and building it up. So you're going to hear it go from this thing that's recorded well and sounds nice, but in the end I'm going to have it pounding. I'm going to have it clear, separated out, spacious, with the right effects that really take it to the next level, and I look forward to doing that. So anyway, let me go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this song for you without anything on it, just the levels, and you're going to get to hear it, and then we're going to talk about the effects here. So let me play it for you for a second.
Stop and stare behind those eyes. What else you got in there? 'Cause you make me feel like I should learn to stop time. I will give you this life that I'm in if you show me the other side. 'Cause the girl's what I want. I stand outside in the
Okay, so you get the idea of what that is. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to break this down into its component parts as far as seeing how effects are going to change this, reverb in particular on the drums. So what I'm going to do, first of all, let's go back here. I'm going to mute the lead vocal in the background, so we just got the track. And then let me play it. And I think I'm just going to play the drums. And so I can hear what's going on a little better. Let me put my headphones on and headphones on, put them back on behind my ears so that they don't hit the microphone. Okay. So you hear the drums are pretty Pretty plain, pretty flat. Sounds good, recorded good. In fact, I think Neumann actually did this recording and they were trying different things. So I basically have everything in there. Like I said, nothing, just balanced it and everything, different mics and all this. Normally when mixing, I probably wouldn't even have most of this stuff in there, but right now it's just to hear it, you know. So now what we are going to do, let me stop this. Let me explain something now. So what you're seeing here, I have the this venerable this is Avid's Reverb, okay? Hopefully you can see that. And this is what comes with the Pro Tools system. It's very how can I put it? It's ubiquitous, you know. It's everywhere because it's not a bad sounding reverb, you know. It's not the best, but it's not a bad sounding reverb. So it's something that it's a utility reverb that you can pretty much use and not feel bad about it. You can get some good stuff. So what I'm going to do is, because this is a good place where people start, I want you to be able to just deal with this and hear some of the differences. Now, as you can see, I'm going to go up here. And you see it's got some different categories. In fact, let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, so we've got hall here, right? We've got church. We've got plate. We've got room 1. We've got room 2. We've got ambient. And we've got nonlinear. And then various parts, sizes of large, medium, and small for each of these. So what I'm going to do now is play back the large hall, and let's see, and I'm sending the snare into it. So what we're going to do is just kind of listen and see what that does. I'm going to send the snare into this, and I got it jacked up kind of a little bit higher than 0 right now, just so that you can hear it real good. Just listen to the reverb. I'm gonna play it without it first, and then I'm gonna pop it in. And what I have sending into it is the snare, and just the upper snare, just 2 snares. There's a top snare and a bottom snare, but I'm just sending the top snare. Now I'm gonna put it in for a hall. Okay, I'm bypass it. Hopefully you can hear that. You can hear that good enough. So what I want you to listen to as I play this, listen to the lingering tones that are in there. After the snare hits, there's some stuff that's lingering back there. Low frequencies, mid frequencies. You hear some chatter things that are in the background happening. And because this is simulating a large space, a large hall, you can actually hear it kind of hitting back against the back walls too. It has that simulation, even though this plug-in, as you can see in the parameters, does not have pre-delay on it. You hear it? So that's a large hall. Let's take it down to medium. This large hall is 4.5 seconds as far as the time. Let's take it down. Okay, let's take it down to medium. 3.4. A little bit better, a little more out of the way than the other one. Let's take it down smaller. Now that tells us right away at the smaller size that for this song and everything, smaller is better. Shorter time is better. But is this category the right category is the question we got to answer. Listen to the frequencies, the buildup, even with shorter times. Let me go even shorter on this hall. Let me go real short. What we're going to do is listen real short now. I got it at 706 milliseconds. Now listen to the frequencies that the reverb are adding, enhancing, things like that. And I'm going to bypass it. Now I'll put it back in. You hear the different frequencies that are coming in with this? Now this is loud too, so I wouldn't, they say this is louder than it would normally be. I'd normally be backed off, but this, I'm just trying to illustrate it to you. Let me take it off again. Listen to the different frequencies. Listen to the normal dry snare, that ping that's in there, the overall tonality of that. All that's going to change too, as you know, like I said, there's no EQ or compression or anything, so all those things and tones that we're hearing right now will be changing. Based on EQing and everything like that. Different things may be dipped out or whatever, but all that affects what this category of reverb is right now, this hall. So by contrast, let's go over to a church. Huge difference, right? Let me take it up. Put it back on. So you see what's built into this is, and this does have pre-delay on it. It's meant to be a bigger surface, a bigger space. Hear the decay on that too. Bigger space, lots more lows, low mids, darker sound and everything. To me, church is definitely not complementary at all. Now, we could take it down and try a smaller size, but I'm not talking about the decay time. I think no matter what size this is, the tone and texture of it is wrong for this. But let's try it just now. We see that the this decay time is 8.7 millisecond, 8.7 seconds. Okay, that's large, but let's take it down to medium. That's 6.5. Let me take it down smaller. Now, small church, still weird. It's just not the right tonality. Let's take the pre-delay off for a second, see if that makes any difference. So, took the pre-delay off. Now let's just listen to the tones. Bypass it. Listen to the snare. Hear the frequencies that are being added in there. Let's take it shorter and get it out the way. Bypass it. Wait till it gets back in. Now, short is definitely better for this song. Let's take it out. Hear the different frequencies. The frequency balance changes, and then keep in mind all this is going to add into, this is just a snare being sent into this, but it's going to add into the overheads, which have their own room sound and things like that built into the recording, and whether they're going to be sit in. So that compared to the hall, very different tonalities and everything. And this, you know, even though now we are not really simulating a hall, the algorithm is a hall. We're not simulating a church. The algorithm is a hall. I keep saying hall. Why am I stuck on hall? Is a church algorithm the way it's built in. So the EQ and the way they programmed it and everything is just a real small church, you know. But it's not has that long thing that we heard initially. So the tonality of it still isn't quite right. Over here you can see that the frequency response is cutting out a lot of highs, so it's definitely very dark and everything. You could change that. Now, it's not to say that you could never use this. For the right song, this might be perfect, but for this song, I don't think it complements it. And what I think is and I'll show you later on when we go through some of these things, you'll see that when you put the music back in, because it's one thing to listen like this with it. It's one thing to listen like this when it's solo. You'll notice there's a lot of tutorials that you may have watched out there on YouTube or whatever where people are showing different things and they show it in solo most of the time. You know, I'm showing you in solo to give you concepts, but the ultimate test of what any of these things are going to be doing is how it works in context to the other instruments being turned on. You know, frequencies are going to change, you know, what this adds and everything compared to a different category of effect compared to what the source snare sounds like, and the other drums coming in like the overheads and everything that gets opened is going to change all these things in various ways that it all has to be considered. So making your decision just on this is just to kind of get you in the area with it solo to give you a general feel for what it'll need. But then after that, you got to listen in context and see what the differences are too. Okay, so anyway, now let's go over to the good old plate and see what that sounds like. And I'm going to bypass it. Now, like I said too, the plate is probably one of the most used ones out there for various things. There's just something about the way it decays. It has a linear type decay in it, whereas you know, the other ones that are more acoustic may have different types of exponential decays where depending on how the room is set up, it may fall off in a different way. Whereas this is pretty linear. It's just, it's a straight, predictable thing. Put it back in. That's a large plate. Now what's considered large plate in their presets, it's 1.6 seconds. That's not really that large. Let's make it larger. Now you see as the larger I make that plate, hear the tones that are in there? Hear them that little rattling stuff back there that's stretching out. Those are the tones. They're all in there. They're always in there. We just, when we're shortening them, we're not hearing what's up. But that's the kind of tonalities being added in there. So you can assess whether something is the proper tone by just seeing what some of that stuff is that's being added. Take it down. Let's go down to medium. Let's go down to small. Go down to much smaller. Okay, let's try something like the pre-delay. Here's what's happening with this. So that's like the main sound is hitting first. You can hear the snare sounding clear. Now when you can hear the reverb immediately. I move this up. It's coming in slightly after, which can help you make things sound a little clearer. If I move it even more, just double. You can get fancy with the rhythms by just playing with that. That might be something, for example, if that little extra thing enhanced the groove in that little bridge section, we might use it and we might automate it in, you know. Or if we decided that this needed to have like this type of pre-delay snare and then the reverb kicks in, if that fits for the song, you know, go with it, you know. So if I took it, as I said, so let's take it down to so that's a slight pre-delay on that plate. Let's take it all the way off. Now there's something different that you can hear. I'll move it back up. So let me explain to you what I'm hearing there for something like that. Now, for this particular song, you know, I like what the plate is adding. You know, like I said, it's too loud right now, of course, but I like what it's adding to the drums, and I like the frequencies that it's enhancing in the drums. And when I pull it back and put the proper send in there, where it's just the right amount and everything, I think it's going to be good. Plus, the other thing, like I said, is I like the little bit of pre-delay so that the reverb isn't starting exactly on top when the snare hits, and then it kicks in, but not too much. When I started getting up around 40-something milliseconds, you notice it just sounded weird and felt weird. But when I had a direct zero pre-delay, it was kind of rounding out the snare a bit. So when I moved the reverb off of the attack of the snare, it sounds better all of a sudden. So that's really a cool thing. When you know stuff like that, it makes all the difference in the world in the impact of your drums and the depth that it has and everything. So I hope this makes sense. Are you guys getting this? I hope it makes sense to you, and I hope everything is clear. Is this something that you can use right now and make what you do better right away, whatever song you're currently working on or about to work on? Does this concept suddenly take you to a whole nother level where you think you can make your drums just sound clear, more impactful, more 3D, sonically interesting, because you find out ways to move things around in depth? Hopefully the answer is yes, and this is definitely helpful to you. So anyway, with that, let's move on to a couple other things. Let's move on to the room and see what that sounds like on here. Okay, I'm gonna mute this track again, and let's solo the track, and let's bypass that so we can hear the snare. And then let's go to a room. Let's put a room. So this is a large room. Now that's kind of complementary too. Now you think about it, this is live drum, so it was cut in a room. So it makes sense that a room would be complementary to this. Okay? Let's see if a medium room is any better than the large room. Hear what we're hearing. Listen, like I said, listen for the frequencies, listen for that high chatter stuff. You hear what's going on there? Let's go to the small room. Go back to the large room. Mess with the pre-delay a little bit. That's not bad either. Go to the small room. Now, I want you to notice the frequencies that go in and out from this reverb being in here. You know, even though it's too loud, just listen to the frequencies. Stop. See, the frequencies that go in there compared to compared to the to it being in and being out, the frequencies that the reverb add and enhance along with the thing that's stimulating it, which is the snare drum, also are going to blend in with existing bass, existing the existing guitar and other things. So all these things are consideration when they come in and out, and you have to listen for them because they all work together. It's not any one component. Everything's working together. Okay? Okay, let me go back here. Let's try Let's try a couple other. I'm just letting it play. Let's try room 2. That's room 2. Room 2. I had it bypassed. I was like, that was kind of flat. Okay, there we go. Try room 1 again. This is just their presets going from large and different tonalities. Hear the tones? Listen to the tones compared to this one now. Even though it's shorter, listen to the tones. I'm gonna make this one longer. Hear those tones up there? There's high frequency stuff happening in there. There's some mid stuff going on. So that stuff is there. Even though I shorten it, it's all still there. So we got to make sure that stuff won't clash with existing stuff that we have in there. Okay. Now let's try ambient. Let's go to ambient. That's ambient. So all that's doing, that's the snare by itself. Then I add some ambient. It's just kind of adding a little stuff around it. It's loud, so normally it wouldn't be that loud, but it's just kind of expanding a little bit on either side of the regular signal. Let's go to non-linear. Listen to the tail end of that. It's non-linear because it just kind of cuts off and you hear the reverb and then it's gone. Something like that is good in combination with other things many times too. Try real small. Let's try it longer. Let's try some pre-delay. Now listen to, I extended it so you can hear what's going on. Hear that? You hear that little sound, the ripple sound? That's just, see, that's the characteristics of reverbs are really just a whole bunch of delays. So that's a whole bunch of delays just rippling through real quick. And you could hear it more when I did that. And if I adjusted some other parameters, you really could hear it. This is where, like, we've got this one parameter down here called diffusion. It's at 87%. It's pretty much been the same for most of these. But this is where you can make things tighter or looser as far as how all those things are spread out or crammed in, you know. And that makes a huge difference on what the room sounds like. Okay, let's do this real quick. Okay, so the next thing I think I want to do is talk about the differences now. Okay, we've gone through this basic thing, and what I really like out of all of them for this particular song is I really like the plate, you know. So I'm gonna dial in a basic plate here and just see kind of how it works with the track. Let's just kind of play with it. I'm listening in solo to kind of hear what's going on. And listen to the So right away, one of the decisions in this category is I want a smaller plate. So I made it small. Because what's happening is it's small and it's getting out of the way of the other drums that are coming in, excuse me. Getting out of the way of the kick drum. You'll hear it. Out. It's out of the way. So, but that's not all it, because remember I told you I kind of liked a little bit of the pre-delay. This is going to make it last a little bit, excuse me, make it last a little bit longer. But I don't mind a little bit, because listen to the snare when I move that pre-delay. Hear that snare popping a little bit more? I think right in there. And I'm just kind of, you know, using my ear to get in that general area. But if you know the tempo of the song, you can make some educated guesses based on if you've got a delay chart. Because when I go here, like for example, if I knew what the milliseconds were on a delay chart for the tempo of this song, I could dial it right in. But I can just kind of listen and see that's a whole different rhythm. But in fact, let me turn. See, hear that little. That's almost matching. So I could automate that in. It wouldn't be that loud, of course, but if I wanted to have a little bit of different sound here and a different feel, I could automate that into that part. If I pull it back. So that little bit of change there changed the feel. Take it back down in here to a shorter pre-delay. If I back that into the track, put that in anything, and I just tuck it in. You can barely hear it, but you can definitely tell when it's gone. So it doesn't take a lot to get you an expansion of sound. It doesn't take a whole lot to get you an expanded sound in there. You know, like I said, I had it loud, and I'm gonna put it back up loud just so that you can hear what I'm doing and everything. But in practice, you'll have it where you shouldn't be able to hear it, but so much. You should be able to hear it just enough, but not too apparent. It shouldn't draw attention to itself so much. It should just feel like it should be there. And then when you mute it out, you notice that it's gone. But, you know, if you hear it, I'm finding if you hear it, and when I first got started using effects, what I learned over the course of it, because I love effects, first of all, you know, that's what set me up. But what I used to do is overdo it so people could really hear what I was doing, you know, because I was caught up in me a little bit. You know, I was like, check out the cool thing I did and all that. But as I got older and more experienced, I realized it's always about the song, and it should be invisible. It should feel good, and everybody just knows it sounds good, but their ear shouldn't be drawn to it, because many times what would happen was, and after having this happen to me many times, you know, yo man, can you pull back that reverb, or pull back this or the other, or turn that stuff off, you know, people, because I was overdoing it. Delays and stuff, I used to get real crazy with. Now I love all that stuff, but it's not appropriate all the time, and definitely if it's drawing too much attention for no reason. If there's a reason for it, go ahead and do it. But if you're just doing it just to say, I got this cool sound on, that's the wrong reason. And I learned that through experience, and I wanted to pass that part on. That's very important. So I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so I'm going to do one last little thing here, and we'll get into it because I want to respect your time. This is a webinar, but in the training, and it affects magic training. And what I'll do is give you a link where you can go to, or you can send me an email or whatever if you're further interested in this. But in Effects Magic, I go deeper into these things as we expand the modules, really. Right now, this is a webinar to give you a good overview and give you something, like I said, that you can use right now. I think I gave you a lot of value right now that you can use right now, and you'll have an immediate, instant improvement, whether you're part of the Effects Magic course or not. That was my goal for you. But I would love for you to come on and be with us for the rest of the things, because like I said, Effects Magic is definitely, it's a 7-week, 7-module course, which is going to cover and get in depth. So right now we're only covering one aspect here, and we're only on module 2. We get so much deeper in some of these other things, you know, so I want to show you that. But one of the things I want to show you here, since we're on plate right now, we got a basic thing, and I still haven't even really dialed this in according to the thing, but I think a plate is going to work for this, you know, and I could potentially take down the milliseconds. That's real short. I'm just kind of listening as my ear, just so that it builds it up a little bit and expands it. So, and then what this tells me is I kind of like that. And let me see as it plays. Put it back in. I'm gonna pull it back closer to where it will be. I'll take it out. Put it back in. And keep in mind, there's no EQ or anything else going on here. So what's happening is it's just expanding, and I would dial this in definitely a little more carefully. So it bypassed. I'll put it back in. Now I could mess with the EQ and these filters and stuff like that, but I'm just going to kind of leave it there. But I have one other thing that I want to talk to you about. So we got that as a good basis for what's going on and to give you some concepts. But in the course we get even deeper, because this is kind of just scratching the surface of what's going on. We did the comparisons of various things, and there's other things to do. But then there's another subcategory, did you know, of comparisons. Okay, so we got this, and we're dealing with the Avid Reverb here. But what would happen now? We chose this as a plate, and that sounds good. But what would happen if we did this and brought this one in instead of that? Okay, that's the Reverb plate, which is Avid. But let me mute that, bypass that. And what we have here is the UAD version of the EMT plate, which is definitely a ubiquitous thing that's all over the place on most records throughout history and still to this day. And this is the digital version that was modeled to simulate, that's those wooden plates that we look, the metal plate that was in the wooden boxes that I showed you the picture of. You know, this is meant to do that. And when I showed you that picture that had the room full of the different boxes in there, with, this is basically a bunch of different ones too. This is 3 different plates. They all sound different, different characteristics, okay? And so we went to the subcategory on the Reverb of having this with all this thing, pick the plate, and we got a small plate. We got it dialed in, and that has Avid sound for what it says a plate is. But now we've got the choice, the category within the subcategory within the subcategory is what plate sounds better from which manufacturer. Is it Reverb and for this song? Because it's not like there's anything wrong with any one or the other, but for this song, let's see what that sounds like compared to, hold on. Let's see what that sounds like compared to the other one, so that how they compare to each other. So let me go back. I'm gonna put in the EMT. And actually, let me do this for a second so I can get the drums. that's EMT solo. Okay, let me put it back to the hold up. Put it back to its default for a second. They were all up in here, so this is the default, and this is so I am on basically the same type of decay. Okay. Send into it. You hear that? You hear the ring that's going in. It's a different type of ring than the other one. That's a plate. Let's try. We got A, B, and C. So let's try plate B. Well, in a second, we'll go back and hear the difference between plate A and plate B on this one unit. But they're all even type. I mean, they're all EMT 140 plates. Listen to the tones in it. I'll go to B. Much darker plate, much thicker kind of sound. Let's go to plate C. Whole nother type of thing. Now notice these all got the same decay time on it, basically, just under 4. It's for about 350 milliseconds. I mean 350, 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds, just under 4 seconds. Hear all that stuff that's in there, the linear decay on there, those tones that are in there, they're all different. Darker, the farther we go, thicker kind of sounding almost. Let's see what that's. Let's go to B. Different frequencies. Go back. Okay, so as you hear, the frequency and tone and texture matters in these things, okay? And it's very, very important to know that you've got to take some time to ascertain which one is going, you know? So for me, I like A the best for this song, you know? Now, we haven't dialed in the decay time yet, but I'm just talking about tonal texture, what it sounds like, the frequencies that are getting accented and things like that. And with the other instruments in there, listening to that. So now let's do this. Play it again. So if we were on A, now let's pull this down because we determined for this song shorter is better. So a shorter plate, getting down. So we know in this Reverb, we went down to 400 something milliseconds. Let's try to go on in that area below. We're down below 1. Okay, we'll see how that sounds in there. Okay. And what we notice is, see, so we're down here below. We're like probably around right in there. It's probably good. It's probably around 300-400 milliseconds. Pretty quick, right? And over here they've got other parameters over here. You see up here they got EQ and all that, but over here we're looking at pre-delay. So this has a little bit of a pre-delay on. Let's turn it off. Now let's add it in like we did on the other one. We'll wait till it comes back and hear the difference. Add the pre-delay. Now you notice the attack of the snare started popping out again when I got the reverb off of it a little bit. Just in general, it's in the same basic area as this one up here. So, you know, they don't have the actual times here. You got to use your ears. And I like that. That's how we did it. Okay? So we got that. Let's see what's going on. Take it. I could potentially, like I was mentioning, tricking out that section with making a longer pre-delay to, you know, give it them little syncopated beats and everything if I wanted to do that. Do the same thing with this one. But I like this one. For something to me, okay, let's bypass this. Now let's put it back in. Let's take it out. Put it back in. Take it back out. Let's go up here. Put this one back. Whole different plate sound. Okay. You can see they're both plates, right? They're both plates, but two different manufacturers, and the other one is more invisible. Well, the Avid, I like the Avid and everything, but I would definitely have to use that less because you see it's adding a few more things that are a little more apparent. So you have to find a good spot where it doesn't get in the way. You may have to put in and use some of these EQ things and things like that to be able to filter this into the proper way and get the lows and highs just the right way so that they don't mess with the other instruments. Anyway, I think that's a lot for today. We're not done. Like I said, we're just kind of scratching the surface, but I wanted to get this going for you, and I appreciate you being here. Make sure that you don't miss any of these different webinars that we're doing and everything. I'm going to have them on the same page and then embed them there. So what I need you to do is check this out and go here. Okay. So my webinars, this particular one was choosing the perfect drum reverb, but the next one will probably be an extension of this, because like I said, we just got started with this EMT, and then there's going to be other things. This is going to be about building out, once you choose the right thing, building it out and making it do some other things leading up to the next module, which is how you can use these things to influence your grooves. I gave you a hint of that in there, but we're just getting started on that. Being able to influence the groove is a huge factor as well. So something as simple as what you choose here has a huge impact on what your overall song will feel like to everybody in the end. You want people to be compelled to feel like they want to dance or sway or move or bob their head, pat their feet, whatever it is. That has to be a subliminal thing that you inject while you're mixing so that it comes out and gets them and they don't even know why they're being grabbed. Okay? So I hope this was helpful to you. If you want to get the enhanced mixing, get the Effects Magic course or whatever, let me see if I can get this up. We had it in the other webinar system. So if you want to send me an email so that you can, if you're interested in that, hit me up at Khaliq at Khaliq-O-Vision.com, and I'll send you a link on how to check that out. If you tell me that you attended the webinar and you're interested in getting the full Effects Magic course, I will send you, just for webinar attendees. So if you're watching this, I know that you are on it, because the only person that's going to know about this are people that attended. I will send you a coupon code that'll knock 50% off for you just for this webinar. But I am limiting those to 25. So the first 25 people, you'll basically be getting it for the price that we did for the launch price of the early bird founding members. I'm giving away 25 more, and after the 25 more, it'll be gone. So if you want to get that, get in now and grab one of those first 25. This is Khaliq Glover. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope it's very helpful to you. Go out and do this stuff because it works right away, and I hope to see you on the next webinar. Make sure that you register, and you'll get a replay of this as well. If you're coming to this late, you want to see the new webinars that come out or whatever and get more information, send me an email or go ahead and make sure you register for the next webinar. I'll catch you later. Bye.